Hi everyone, thank you for being here with us. We are back for the next Unsung Warrior segment. Today, I'm lucky enough to be sitting down with Jonathan Bragg. Jonathan, thank you for being here with me today.
Absolutely.
He is from the Office of Residence Life. And my first question for you today, John, is just what were some of the challenges that you faced in getting residential students back to campus? I know that it had to be such a tough process, and being a senior student from New Jersey, I'm so thankful to be here and just be able to be on campus. So what were some of those difficulties? I'm sure there were many.
Yeah, we're excited to be able to have students come back this year. You know, going into the end of last year, we weren't sure, and we were really committed to finding a way to bring students back onto campus because we know it means so much to students here at Merrimack. It really started for us in May with move out. As students that were here on campus last year know, we had to do a very elongated move out process to allow students to move out over the whole course of May. So that pushed us a little bit behind. And then the college made the decision right around that time to de-densify or de-triple rooms on campus. So my staff spent a lot of the summer going into rooms, setting them up, putting up those curtains in rooms, really making sure that rooms were in a good shape so that people could be as socially distanced as possible. And at the same time, that's a lot of what my housing operations folks were working on, were the housing assignments and the spaces. On my side of the house, which is the residential education side, it was thinking about how do we do programs? How do the RAs confront people? How do they have those interactions, and how do we build community in the hall when building community is almost a negative with COVID? You don't want people all together. So we really had to rethink every part of residence life. And I've worked in residence life for over a decade. And sort of all the old ways of doing things we had to throw out the window, and we had to go basically through every single process that we had in our office and say, how can we make this successful for this year? And even our move-in looks so different this year over a course of a week, but it went super smoothly, building in the testing component. And it was, I think an overall real success for us. And we had to work through what happens when somebody gets sick, or what happens when a student calls and says, I don't feel well in the middle of the night, and all of those sorts of processes and procedures. But it's been a challenging year, and it's been a tough year, but I think for all of us, we're really happy with the outcome and really happy with the experience that people have had this year.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. And I know things look different. I know you've touched upon a lot of that in answering the last question, speaking to, cutting down triples and going to strictly doubles. What are some of the other differences, even in programming? You talking about some of the interactions and communication between RAs and the residents. What do those differences really look like on campus?
Yeah, so in terms of programming, we had to rethink how you do programming. And what we weren't sure when students got back is what would work. And so we had the RAs try a bunch of different things. We tried virtual programs, and you see that, the programs on Zoom that we tried out. We started doing a lot of grab and go programs. So instead of everyone coming down to the lobby at the same time, it was grab the stuff and bring it back to your room, and then you can do the arts and crafts, or you can do something in your room. And we also had to look at how do we do some socially distant stuff outside, or in spaces that are larger on campus. So it was really rethinking every type of program that we normally ran, and how do you make that safe, and how do you make that accessible while still giving students stuff to do. In terms of the RAs, I think what we had to really change was it's a lot more one-on-one interaction now. And so you probably see, any of our resident students know this year, the RAs are checking in a lot more with students this year. And part of that's because students feel more isolated now. They don't see people as much. They're spending more time in their room. And so going into the spring semester, we heard that feedback, and we have our RAs each month now doing a check-in with students, asking them some questions about how things are going, things they'd like to see. And we've been developing some new programming initiatives. So we just started a book club with some students that had said that they were interested in that. It's stuff that people might not go to, for programs that a lot of students like bingo, a lot of students like the trivia and stuff like that we do. But we found this subsect of students who weren't really connecting with that, and we're looking to do something different. So we've been launching a bunch of new programming initiatives this semester to try to connect with students who said, I'd really like to be part of a book club and read a book. And that's something that we just started this month.
That's awesome. It's awesome to hear all the new initiatives taking place and the new programming. Thinking about next year, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves here, of course. I'm sure so much is up in the air, but what can we expect for next year, especially from a residential standpoint?
Yeah, we hope to be close to normal again for next year. And folks have seen the communication that came out from the college that we expect to be in person again next year. And so we're excited. The housing deposits have been coming in for upper class students as well as those deposits for new students. And we know a lot of students want to be back here on campus next year. So we're going to aim to have it be as close to normal as we can. But the college has always been very data driven and really watching what's going on. So a lot of it's going to depend on where cases are at, which we hope, especially as the vaccinations roll out over the summer, that we'll be in a really good place to do all that. But for all intents and purposes, we're hoping for a very return to normalcy next year. And there may be tweaks, there may be small changes as we take precautions. But I feel really confident that next year is going to look more similar to years past. And I think students will be really excited to be here on campus.
I think so for sure too. And I'm so happy that we even got to be here this year. I'm really excited. I wish I was going to be, my senior year is going to be next year. It's sad to leave, but I'm really excited for the rest of the students, and I hope that they do get somewhat of a normal year. But thank you so much for being with me today, and stay safe, Warriors.